Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Dekho Apna Desh. Now we have moved forward to many episodes and now we are having an special episode with three panelists and today's topic is art and experiential tourism. Art and experiential tourism. So this episode is basically about the you can say the tangible and intangible culture heritage of India. There are many forms of arts and culture which are hidden in India and that we already showcase to the world. And today we are going to discuss much about this art and artifacts. There are many things that we may not be knowing much about it. So to know it, we have today three panelists. Mr. Arjun Bahal, he is promoting, preserving, and uh, making this creating awareness among the people about the arts and culture and artifacts. We have another panelist, uh, Miss Vidisha. She is connected with the Aisher Foundation and she is very much into this uh, preservation and conservation of arts. And again, we have a special guest from UK and he will be also sharing his view, Mr. Miguel. So we are happy to have all these three panelists today. We welcome you and we welcome all the viewers who are present today and will share their thoughts and views. So we will move first to Mr. Arjun and we will know from him about his experience and how the arts and culture is being promoted by him. Mr. Arjun.
Thank you, Suman Saab, for the kind introduction. Good evening, good morning, sorry. Um, uh, Suman ji has already introduced the panelists, but I would just like to firstly show my gratitude to the panelists who've taken out time from their busy schedule to be a part of this forum. Um, I would also like to do a quick round of introduction of Badisha Day, who's the ED of the Aicha Foundation. As we all know, Aicha Foundation houses many iconic brands, and one of the most iconic brand across India and now globally as well is Royal Enfield. We've always heard that Royal Enfield sound, which is very iconic. We can hear Royal Enfield coming from far, and also the way the bikes are built. Royal Enfield has been doing some amazing work uh, when it comes to riding, and in the field of riding has been looking at Himalayas and other mountain regions, uh, and has been doing something which goes beyond what a biking company should do. And I think that's what Badisha will speak about. Badisha has been behind behind some of these big initiatives which Royal Enfield has done, and it is commendable, and it's a matter of pride that an Indian company is making riding global and is literally a cult brand today. Um, Along with me, along with Bidisha, we also have Mr. Miguel. Miguel and myself go a long way. To start with, he was my professor. He's the one who taught me and has guided me so far, and has given me the, I would say, the wings to go ahead. And when I studied events and tourism management in 2004 at Bournemouth, um, and since then my association started. Um, I I also happened to become friends with him, and since then our friendship has flourished. Beyond the friendship, Miguel is a very dedicated professor, a teacher, also a person who's been writing various papers on in the field of tourism. And now we must address him as Dr. Miguel, as he's also a PhD. Um, and his passion it can be seen the way he conducts himself, the way he conducts the webinars. And today he's been kind enough to be awake at 6:30 in the morning as he's joining us from the UK to help moderate this panel. So we are very grateful, and we are very looking forward to all his insights. Lastly, I would also like to thank the amazing team of the Ministry of Tourism, which has shown such proactiveness to create such forums and to have us participating, and also to have us giving us a listen to what the future of tourism could be from a very alternate perspective, not from the usual perspective. So, thank you very much. Uh, I would like Miguel to set the context, after which I'll do a very quick presentation, uh, followed by Miguel doing a bridge over to Vidisha, and then we'll open it for discussions and we can have conversations around this. Uh, Over to you, Miguel. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your kind words, and I would like to say good morning. I think it's still good morning in India too, to everyone in the Ministry of Tourism, those behind the scenes running the event, and obviously to my fellow panelists, Vidisha and Arjun. And the topic of this webinar is art and experiential tourism. They are big words, and it's important to set the scene of what they mean. And if we go back to the essence of tourism, tourism is about providing meaningful experiences. And the interplay between art and tourism and experiential tourism is well known, and we can divide the perspective uh, about this relationship in two ways. Once on one side we have the intangible cultural heritage, so art forms that have existed for a long time, and therefore they have become part of heritage. And on the other hand, we have contemporary forms of art, such as Start India. So what we have in today's webinar is these two types of art, because Vidisha will be talking about intangible cultural heritage in the Himalayan region, and how the foundation is helping to bring back, revive, and organize that intangible cultural heritage to the benefit of local populations. On the other hand, we have a much more recent initiative which tries to use street art to impact local communities, not only in terms of the impacting personal lives and I guess self-esteem, but also improving the outside space. So in the end, what we have here from a tourism perspective are resources that have potential to become part of the tourism offer of India. But it's important also to think, just because they exist, it doesn't mean that they are viable tourism products. They can provide tourism experiences. So one other question is, how can we develop these products to serve the local communities, while at the same time um, make them appealing to tourists? And here we have an interesting interplay, because we have an organization, the Aisha Foundation, that is not naturally associated to tourism, but as part of their CSR, they have been involved in initiatives that have an important connection to tourism. So that's the scene for today. We will start with understanding what Start India does, and then what the Aisha Foundation has been doing in the Himalayas and in other areas that can be used as a tourism resource, and then we will initiate our discussion as to how we can use them for the benefit of communities using tourism. So, Arjun, I think it's time to pass the word on to you, for you to present us the Start India project.
Thank you very much. And just allow me a second. I'm just going to share my screen, and I'm also going to get a confirmation from both of you if you can see what I see. Uh,
Yes.
yeah. Uh, Thank you very much, Miguel, for the words and also to setting up the tone. Uh, what does Start do? I think that's very important for us to first understand what Start has been doing. Start has been working in urban spaces since 2014. And the whole idea of Start is that it works with communities and it works towards the urban regeneration of these spaces. We are an urban art outfit. So mostly we will see Start in the big urban cities. As we can all see, there's mass concretization, there's heavy deployment of structures across all our cities. Obviously, with growth comes growth of infrastructure. But many a times, what happens is that it's not, it becomes way too much for a city to handle. And that's what Start comes to do. It comes to create that softness, comes to create that that soul to the city. It by the way of doing putting art on some of these buildings. So we don't really create infrastructure. We in fact work on the present or the future infrastructure. We work with what is given to us, what is given in the city, and we try to see within what is in the city in terms of buildings how art can come and make a role. Can art come and make the space look a little better? Can art come and work with communities, with join the communities and the artists to work towards a goal? Can art also help in some of the public policies of the government? And that's what Start really does. By the way of what we do in Start, some of the projects which we've been undertaking, we've got the art districts, and we've got 6 art districts across India. We work on experiential exhibitions. These are exhibitions essentially uh, which um, which are done in spaces which are usually not visited by people. They are part of a city, but we wouldn't visit them. For example, the Sassoon Dock, in Calabar Causeway. That's where all the fishing activity happens. A usual person would never go there. So we try to take people to these hidden gems and create site-specific installations, and thereby an exhibition for people to come and see. We work on these larger than life landmark projects, which we're going to talk about. Uh, we work with indigenous artists to see how we can motivate them, promote them, encourage them to rethink some of the practices for the modern times and make it more appealing for the youngsters, not giving away the practices, but maybe looking at the tools. And we work in places of transit. So these are just some of the things Start does. We do a lot more things. We work with hospitals, we work with places of play, etc., etc. But I just thought I'll restrict myself to today. Uh, our reach, we worked in almost 25 plus cities across India, and the number of cities is ever growing. I have to mention to you guys about the art districts. I said there are 6 art districts. The Lodi Art District started in 2015. We've got 65 plus artworks. The Makta Art District, which is started in 2016, again, we've got about 20 artworks. The Mahim East Art District started in 2017. We've got another 25 artworks there. The Panjim Art District in Goa, and the Kanagi Art District in Chennai, and the Kokudum Art District in Coimbatore. All these spaces are work in progress. We try to work every year, add more artworks over there. The Lodi Art District is the first open air art district in India. What is an art district? An art district for us is a space which is open, which is accessible for all, which is free of any boundaries, and is also space where you can do a proper walk. It's pedestrian friendly, and in general, that's what our idea of an art district was. And that's how we kind of looked at Lodi Colony as the first art district. Though Lodi Colony is a great example because all the buildings over there are homogeneous. It is one of the last built colonies by the British. At some point, this colony will get redeveloped, as we all know, but it was the right place for our first art district to be. And you can see today at the Lodi Art District, the conversations are very different. Today, there are tourists over there. There are people who are coming for tours. There's a whole new conversation which has started. Uh, we also end up doing some of these larger than life landmark projects, which I spoke about. Again, this is not in Lodi, but just the images here. This is the Gandhiji's mural at the Delhi Police headquarters. This was done in 2014. Some of the key art data of the Lodi Art District. We've got 60 plus murals. We've got 25 plus nationalities who are participating countries. We've got approximately 25 to 30,000 monthly visitors. It's very difficult to see how many people are coming in because there's a non-gated space, it's non-ticketed, and people are just coming. We do curated walks over there. There are bicycle tours over there. There are also audio guided tours over there. So there are many options to see the art. The options can be created by us as well as by other indigenous groups. The types of visitors which are there. There's obviously the domestic and international tourists. It's become a very important space for tourists to come and see it. And I believe also the Incredible India talks about one of the 10 must spaces to go to when you come to Delhi. You have the youngsters coming over there, you have foreign dignitaries coming over there, you have art lovers coming over there, and a lot of people who are shooting over there. A lot of film shoots, commercial shoots are happening, a lot of influencers are there. So that is what Lodi Art District is. At any given point of time, especially on weekends, you go there, you see a buzz, you see people, you see a lot of things happening. Obviously, Lodi Colony has been recommended in the part of the Lonely Planet. I've just put this because it's a tourism conversation, so must add some of the resources. It's also part of the Google Arts and Culture. Uh, Lodi Colony also serves, and our art district also serves as a tool for soft diplomacy. This is the first lady of France, Miss Macron. She came and visited the Lodi Colony as the French Institute are our partners, and some of the French artists have worked over here. So it goes beyond art. It goes for even talking about India as a soft power, as a conversation for soft power and soft diplomacy. Um, we also try to have a very inclusive approach, right? I mean, the idea is to have all kinds of people coming. So since Lodi Colony is pedestrian friendly, we've also we also kind of make many a times recommendation to the CPWD, which owns the buildings of Lodi Colony. Over here, what we've tried to do is we've created artworks in braille so that the people who are visually impaired can also feel what the artworks look like. Similarly, we have the Kanagi Art District. I'm not going to explain what the art districts are, as you've already got a sense of what the art districts are. So I will not use the time to explain it, but I'm just going to quickly show you what it is. It's one of the largest resettlement colonies in Chennai, in India, rather. This is after the tsunami. This whole project got accentuated. There are almost 25-30,000 families living over here. And today, it looks like this. If you would have Googled this space, 3 years ago, you would only hear negative stories about it. But today, one of the things which the foundation's effort has done by putting art out there, by working with communities over there, has created a new conversation around it. We have youngsters who are locals who are working with us to create these arts. There are various other NGOs who are working with them. So there's a lot of, I would say, positive impact beyond the tourism or what happens in a community. Again, some of the key data is we've got 20 plus murals, we've got almost 7 participating countries, and the rest of the other things like the walks and the curated tours, etc., are the same. So I will not go and get into that. Uh, Across the art districts, we don't just come and paint; we actually work with the communities. So over here, we've given, like for example, pamphlets telling people that we are coming and asking them what they want to see, and trying to see in the artworks, and trying to see how they would like to get involved. Would they like to paint? Would they like to assist the artist? Can they be the artist? Would they like to organize the community? Do they have a skill? And get all that data and then put people in a group and put them together by working with the artist. The idea is that the ownership should come from the people. The people should feel and should be involved in the process. Only then we have kind of achieved our goals. So you kind of see various kinds of community engagements which happen before we start the art districts or before we start the works and while we are doing the works. Workshops, international artists giving workshops, very valuable for people and kids. Music performances over there, talks at the art district, tours, as I said. Uh, that's what kind of the art districts is. We also, like I mentioned to you, we work with contemporary artists. This is craft to contemporary. This is working with Warli, and this is working with these boys, very talented boys called the White, their brothers. And Today, if you see over here, he's working with a stencil, and it is unheard of. They're working with a stencil and a spray can, the whole worldly thing. And today we work with them to rethink their tools, to rethink the curation, to rethink even the how the composition should be. And you can see the outcome of a worldly artwork. So we are trying to see how we can work with our indigenous arts, promote it, try to modernize it a bit without losing the main essence or the skill, and put it out there in public spaces so that people who are younger people start consuming it again, start understanding, and start feeling the pride of some of our beautiful indigenous art across India. These are some of the experiential exhibitions. This is Sasun Dock. This was in partnership with Mumbai Port Trust, which is under the Ministry of Shipping. Uh, and this is a project which we did in 2017. And in fact, we are revisiting this project this year. This is all the Koli people. This is portraits of the original inhabitants of Mumbai. They're almost the forgotten people. And the idea was to create all these people and put the portraits on the warehouses. And this is what it used to look like before that, when we got that space. And this is what it looked like after. So you can see really the impact of art. This is like before and after. And this was totally free. We were not selling anything. And we had huge number of visitors over here. And all the curation, all the inspiration was very localized. Everything came from the people, from the locality we were in. And artists came and spent time with the fisher folk and created all these works. This is what a fish probably feels like underwater. This is an artist installation by Tan Zizi, who's a Singaporean artist. So you kind of get a sense of what it was. This is the WIP show. Again, we worked over here with the Railways Ministry. We, in fact, proposed this project. We worked in Inland Container Depot. This is one of the largest landfills in Delhi, which we keep on seeing in the news. But right behind it, we have a very interesting space. Again, this space wouldn't have ever be frequented by others if the exhibition wouldn't come over here. This is what the space looks like. And this is what we did to the space, working with containers. So, for example, the Sasun Dock saw more people than what a National Museum sees in a year, and within 2 months. So, that's the impact of art. That's the impact of gathering people. Sasun Talk was talked about, as well as WIP show was talked across international media, and we didn't spend 1 rupee on advertising. It was all done through uh, very natural and like people doing it organically. Some of the iconic sculptures, which are very important to have city identifiers. This is Love Mumbai. This is Love Hyderabad. And again, these sculptures become a places of landmark in the city. Vizag, Chennai. And, just one international case study. I just thought I'll put the Millennium Park because it's a great case study. It's in Chicago, as it says over here. It was a space which was completely, no one would go there. It was downtown. And it was transformed by just putting art out there. That's about it. Today, it has an estimate annual revenue of $1.4 billion of direct visitor spending. And it gives approximately almost 80 million in tax revenues. It attracts 5 million visitors annually, and it's increasing over the last this is year on year increasing the number of visitors. So this is a great case study of what can happen to spaces which are neglected or which are not part of the city, and how they can become a part of the city and become a part of the tourism as well, by just putting art out there. Why public art? My last slide. It is important as a tool, as a soft diplomacy, makes tourism very cool. Today artists today people are looking for things to do which is different. There is economic benefits. It engages in cultural activities, creates happy and safer cities. Again, we need happy and safe cities for tourism to thrive, brings communities and cultures together. And the most important part is art attracts masses. And that's about it from my side. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your presentation and for being able to communicate so much about the Start India experience in around 13, 14 minutes. And so now we move on to Vidisha, who is going to explain to us the experience of the Aisha Foundation and how a motorcycle company, in essence, uh, can actually play an outstanding role in bringing art to audiences and audiences to art. So over to you, Vidisha.
Thank you, Miguel, and thank you, Arjun, for the kind words earlier. I'm just going to be sharing my screen, so bear with me for a minute. The beauty of a webinar is you can't see anyone, particularly when your screen share goes live. So, Arjun, Miguel, just tell me that you can see my slide and I will begin.
We see it well and clear. Thank you, Vidisha.
Thank you so much. So hi everyone, and thank you for joining us this Saturday morning, afternoon, from wherever you are logging in. I think the first question that everyone must be wondering, we are talking about art, we are talking about tourism, experiential tourism. What is Aisher or Royal Enfield doing here? uh, Royal Enfield and the connection between Eicher and Royal Enfield. So, like Arjun mentioned, Eicher Motors Limited is the organization, the parent company that owns the Royal Enfield brand, and Aisha Group Foundation, which I lead in the capacity of its executive director. We are the CSR arm of Royal Enfield. So today you will see through the 10-12 minutes that I will talk to you, Royal Enfield being spoken about, because these are really initiatives that are led or put together for Royal Enfield. Now, Royal Enfield, has been around for a while. It is the oldest motorcycle brand in the world in continuous production. We are over a century old now, and it has thrived, and it has, it had a checkered past. It started in Britain, came to India. Now we sell all over the world, but essentially how the brand has thrived over the decades and over the last century has been because it's been part of popular culture. The custodians of this brand, more than the organization or the corporate, have really been the community, the riders, the people who have loved it and who've actually looked at making the motorcycle a part of their own lives and culture and stories. And that's really the connection where Royal Enfield and art comes together. We've seen that over the decades, over the years, artists have found a way of expressing themselves through Royal Enfields. Sometimes, like you see, a beautiful sculpture by Paresh Maiti, where he's actually dismantled Royal Enfields and created something beautiful around motion. And so the parts of the motorcycle, how it is made, how it can inspire the journeys that can inspire artists. So that's been the beauty and the lure of the brand, which is why we are inspired to talk about art today, or to even have programs around art today. And at the same time, Royal Enfield has been conducting rides, so it's really been an ally. And through our rides, we've been promoting tourism. We've actually been promoting India across the world. People from all over the world come down, motorcycle enthusiasts, and they would like to ride an Enfield to the Himalayas. And we've been, therefore, even without trying too hard, or even without, let's say, a strategic roadmap in place, we have been part of the tourism industry. The tourism, we've been part of tourism, and we've been furthering the cause of tourism for a very, very long time now. We've been associated with leisure riding and the Himalayas. And when we started looking at what our interplay with CSR might be, we began at a point where we said that we've been asking people to go and explore, we've been asking people to go and ride more. Can we do it a little bit more sustainably? Can we do it in a manner where we are not harming the ecosystem, the ecology, and also working with the communities of these lovely destinations where our riders are going to? And that's really the genesis of what we call Leave Every Place Better, or responsible tourism, that we really talk about through our CSR campaign. Coming back to today's discussion, which is really about art, the way we look at it, we've got some credentials to look at art and have some kind of an intervention, when we look at the art space. And here we go beyond the visual art space. So there are we look at arts to really also acknowledge the performing arts, the culture, the intangible cultural heritage of this country, which is so very diverse, from one part, one community to the other community. And the way we look at it, simply trying to put it across, is that we can either take audiences or take travelers, take riders closer to the art or closer to where the art form is practiced, to the communities, or we can bring art closer to where the audiences are. And I will talk a little bit about both of these ways in which we've been kind of running our projects and some of our very interesting partnerships here. And to begin with, the Great Himalayan Exploration, which is our most recent partnership and a partnership with UNESCO. And as you know, UNESCO's really been championing the cause of intangible cultural heritage, and India has just become part of the governing body at the UNESCO convention as well, and to look at intangible cultural heritage. And we came together in a very imaginative partnership with UNESCO, Royal Enfield and UNESCO, to document and promote the intangible cultural heritage of the Himalayan region of India, beginning with the Himalayas. And to be able to, and when you think of the Himalayas, you think of the gorgeous and majestic landscape, you think of the natural beauty, the natural ecosystem. But if you were to also think of your experience of going to the Himalayas, it is really so much more beyond the natural beauty, beyond the snow and the clean air and the and the expanse and the greenery. There is so much more to the communities which are actually residing in these landscapes, in these in these mountainous terrains, their culture. Do we really think about their culture, and how might we through tourism look at creating experiences that bring these cultural nuances to the fore? What we tried to do when we were looking at this partnership, even before we started out, to document and to look at the intangible, the living heritage of the Himalayas, what we did is to really bring together the Himalayan communities, artists and creative practitioners from across the Himalayan states. So this was the Western Himalayas and the Eastern Himalayas. They all came together to put together a 3-day spectacular festival and conversation at Bikaner House in Delhi, which saw a lot of people coming and participating, and a lot of audiences coming and attending an exhibition and a festival. I'm going to play a quick video to give you a glimpse of what it really meant to put together creative practitioners from this region. I'm going to skip quickly. I hope the audio was worked properly.
Yes, that was fine. Thank you, Vidisha.
Thank you, Arjun. So, like I was saying, that this very exciting project with UNESCO that we've started, and it's a long-term project, it's a long-term partnership, is where we've started to look at the Himalayan region, and look at it not only keeping with a view of, let's say, its natural ecosystem, but also to look at its cultural heritage, its intangible cultural heritage, practices that are passed on from generation to generation, and some of them, if not documented, if not promoted well, can actually be lost. And there lies an opportunity. There lies an opportunity for tourism to look at some of these practices and how do we build an ecosystem around some of these practices, work with some of these communities to secure their livelihoods, to bring the best of this intangible cultural heritage of India to travelers at large. And I think that's the role where the ministry, and I imagine a lot of you who have logged in from the travel and tourism industry, can really play that role very effectively. What we are doing in this project is that, to begin with, in the first edition, we've started with the northeast, the eastern Himalayas, where we have identified 100 odd intangible cultural heritage practices, we which includes several practices which are around art and craft. And like I said, for us, art is not just visual art, it's also the art of weaving, it's the food, it's a lot of different elements that really can be clubbed under the umbrella of arts. And there are 25 such practices out of the 100 practices that we've looked at. And quite honestly, some of them are means of livelihood. Some of these practices are the ones around which an entire tourism ecosystem can be built. And to just showcase what that might mean, I'm going to show you another video. Again, this is a UNESCO project. Our partners were very kind to give us a very good induction into this whole process and what that might mean. Most of you might have heard of the Potachitro, and in this village in West Bengal called Pingla. And you will see here what you can actually possibly do, where you how do you really take riders or travelers to a community, and what might that experience look like. And this was really the flag off of our great Himalayan exploration. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video.
Over the next 2 weeks, you will be traveling throughout the Northeast to document intangible cultural heritage.
People in this village and is inviting us to take a tour of the village. It's one of the oldest known art forms in the world.
Coming back to, did that work? The audio?
Yes, that was perfectly fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Coming back to one of our biggest events that Royal Enfield has been doing again for decades now. This is called Rider Mania. This is our annual event, our annual festival. Which sees the largest gathering of Royal Enfield enthusiasts from around the world. Happens every year in Goa. Of course, the last couple of years we've given it a miss, and as you can see, this year we are expecting 15,000 motorcycle riders, travelers to come down to Goa in November for 3 days at Vagator, and really be part of this festival. And while the interesting thing really again is that while all of these people are coming down to Goa to really meet like-minded people, meet fellow riders, and bond over motorcycles, and there will be different events around motorcycles, and people, you know, uh, Royal Enfields are a machine that the riders really love their machines, right? So you will have a lot of custom motorcycles and a lot of events around the machine itself, and the practices, riding practices, exploration. What we have tried to do, and this has again been happening over the last few years, but this year in particular, while we bring in Goa 15,000 odd tourists, riders, we are also trying to bring the best of Goan heritage to these riders. And therefore, at Rider Mania this year, there will be several different initiatives, and many of them actually revolve around the art the art world, right? So whether it is the Goa Open Arts, whether it is associations with the Museum of Goa, or even Arjun, start India is putting together something at in Goa at the Ridermania venue. There will be pop-ups. There are going to be tie-ups with heritage festivals. We will have local cuisine being talked about, which is and really getting the Goan community and the rider community to come and interact with each other, so that when these riders come in, while their key motivation is meeting their friends and riding and motorcycles, they also get to understand what is the nuance, what is the place that they have come in, what is the culture of this place, and they're not blinded by only the party scene of Goa. There will be a lot of that as well, but really to try and see what are the different tourism aspects and products that you can interweave in an existing format or an existing event. It's very easy to just kind of put together a, I mean, it's not easy, but it's as Royal Enfield. The what we can do is bring together a bunch of really passionate, enthusiastic riders, but then to also elevate that experience and create layers with kind of bringing in the different aspects of that particular geography of those communities is something that I think makes it more exciting, and it also adds a certain different dimension to the experience, to what the riders really take back home. So I'm sure that some of them will deeply engage with the interventions that I have sort of listed out on the slide. Some of them may just be like reluctant. I mean, some of them may just be observing it and not really deeply engaging with an experience like this. But all of them take back more than just the motorcycles and and the bonhomie, which is great by itself, but there's more to it, certainly. And then just to kind of wrap up, Royal Enfield has articulated that we will, our long-term ambition in this space is to partner 100 Himalayan communities and to work with them in a really deep, holistic way to create sustainable spaces. This means certainly securing their livelihoods. This certainly means looking at tourism, which is one of the mainstays of livelihood in these communities, for these communities, and to see how do you develop tourism in a manner which is responsible, which is sustainable, and brings them not just the livelihood security, but also pride and sustainability. That's really our intent with our social, mission, our social ambition. And we've also said that, one community that we are very proud of, and one community that I think we have direct influence on, is the rider community. And we've said that we will try and catalyze a 1 million movement of 1 million riders globally, who can become ambassadors, who can, take this mindset across the world, not just to the Himalayas, but really across the world, who can work with the communities wherever they are riding, and try and bring a positive change. Be more mindful of what the community, what the community really represents, and don't treat them as vendors. Don't treat them as people who are just trying to provide you with some amenities when you are traveling to their destinations, but really look at what they represent, what their identity is, and what they can offer, and of course go back richer as well, to that extent. Some of our initiatives, which, and a lot of it really revolves around tourism, around promoting responsible tourism. And we've seen that it's one thing to say that you will be promoting cultural heritage and cultural identity, and arts, and what the community represents, and opening up tourism. But when a traveler or a tourist is going to these places, they're going to need more than just experiencing that art form or engaging with the community. They're going to need places to stay. They are going to need access to clean drinking water, hopefully, which is not coming from a plastic bottle. They are going to be, hopefully requiring, amenities like sanitation units, which are clean and hygienic. So we are, through our CSR funds, also working to build that tourism infrastructure and ecosystem to be able to support something like this. And you see some of these initiatives across the Himalayan communities, including a very interesting fellowship program with Green Hub in the Northeast. These are some of our initiatives where we work with local communities. We have more than 60 homestays that we've set up in Ladakh. We are working with a group of women to promote pashmina and yak wool. Again, that for us is art. It's handloom, it's handicraft, but it really is in the domain of art as well. We are working with key influencer groups like the taxi drivers and training them on responsible tourism, training them on alternate tourism, so that they can then take that message to the travelers and tourists who are coming in, including making what we call these pit stops, where the travelers, when they are going into some of these remote regions, can access all of these amenities in a manner where the community is running these amenities, where these are not working against the natural ecosystem of the region. So yeah, these are really some of the things that we are doing, and we hope that as people from the tourism industry, the ministry, and the travel trade partners, whoever is logging in today, is able to draw something from this, and we hope to partner with some of you as well in our long term program to really bring about this mind shift change, where we look at tourism not just as a commodity but as an experience that really leaves you enriched. And wherever we go, when we get back, we leave every place better. We leave every place better as individuals. We leave every place better than we found it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bidisha, for your presentation of the experience of the foundation uh, in developing and promoting intangible cultural heritage, and in particular, many forms of art. Moving forward, I think it's time to raise some questions and move a bit away from the script. And before I do that, I would just like to highlight the similarities between actually these two apparently very different experiences. The first similarity is that both have a strong potential for tourism because both offer, uh, let's say, they are high in experiential value. They can provide that experiential value through the consumption of art. And both can provide entertainment and enjoyment. I think in this day and age, it's important to offer a narrative in order to allow tourists to tell a story. Just look at all the individual expression that comes through sharing our experiences in social media. And in both cases, the forms of art are very visual, which provide a great basis for tourists to express themselves through taking pictures and doing videos of the places they are visiting. Uh, Both have a strong connection to the community, which is very important in this day and age. It's not imposed, even though it's carried out by organizations that are at the beginning alien to the communities. It's done in partnership with them. So it provides for community and personal growth, as well as a source of tourism values. So both meet the criterion of providing meaningful interactions between tourists and the community. What I would like to ask Bidisha and Arjun is, so we've got those resources there. There has been tremendous amount of work around developing those resources. How can we make them more institutionalized from a tourist perspective? So basically, how can we make them as part, an integral part and recognized part of the tourism industry, to the point that the various stakeholders involved in developing tourism products and promoting them and selling them to tourists, um, how can we involve these partners in order for the intangible cultural heritage in the Northern Himalayas and all the street art which is now spread across India, how can they become established tourism products? So I would like to get your views on those issues.
Yeah. I thank you, Miguel. I think that's a wonderful question, and that's something which we've always been talking about. As what we do at Start, we create content other than the murals, other than the art districts, other than the experiences. I think that content is very valuable. It's good quality content. It's well shot, but it's not spoken about. And if we get some help from the Ministry of Tourism, just to speak about some of the works which we have done using our own work, using our own video assets, using our own research. That itself, and if it's promoted officially by the ministry and by the uh, uh, various state tourism bodies, I think that itself legitimizes the work which we do. Plus, in addition, it also helps the ministry to have this content which we've created on a free of cost basis, almost, to to promote it and to talk about it and to show what's happening in India in a very cool way, right? To I would say, to directly speak to some of the audiences which are interested in this kind of exploration when they come to see the state or the country in general. Uh, this is what I like to call cool tourism, right? Because this is what I would like to call tourism, which is Instagrammable. This is for the selfie generation. It really matters to them. They like to take images next to art. They like to take images next to sculptures, and that itself is almost free of cost promotion because it's done organically. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things if we can do is for the ministry to take up some of these initiatives and talk about it. It really helps legitimizing our work and giving that much needed impetus to what we do.
Right. And if I can come in here, Miguel, I think Arjun has a point. Of course, when we create content, and for instance, in our case, with the UNESCO project in particular, we are documenting all of these practices, and documentation here is video documentation, is going to be photographs. Our aim is to really put them all together in a digital repository like a virtual museum, and everything that we do at the foundation is open source. So it's not like we will charge, or anyone can't borrow it, and anyone can't use it. In fact, we would be very happy to share some of that content as well, with all of that content with whoever might wish to take it. But uh, there are a couple of other points as well that come to my mind, in which I think play an important role in creating tourism products around some of these things. One is the value of partnerships. The Pingla project, for instance, in addition to whatever UNESCO is doing, to promote Pottochitro, or it has been identified as a, it's right there as an intangible cultural heritage from India. I do know that IHCL, which is a large group of hotels, also in Calcutta, promotes a trip to Pingla. If you're in Calcutta at the Taj Hotel, and we were there, they were kind enough to host us as well. There are itineraries that they have created where they are asking people to go down and experience some of this. I think the hospitality industry also can think innovatively to market some of these experiences, to their travelers, to their guests. That's number one. Number two, in fact, so content was number one. Second is of course partnerships. The third, I think, is got to do with trainings and capacity building, because a lot of this, it falls in the space of alternate tourism, right? So it's not possibly a very conventional way of looking at tourism. And I think there is a requirement to also build capacity all around. I know sustainable tourism is a big agenda. Community-based rural tourism is a big agenda that the ministry is also chasing, and I think there is work to be done, which the ministry also acknowledges, in building capacity, building understanding of what might that mean, and therefore creating products which are viable and sustainable. So yeah, I think that these are a few things. Infrastructure, building amenities, creating that ecosystem, all of that has to happen, of course. But that's what comes to my mind again.
Thank you very much. And I think the Royal Enfield example brings us the discussion of Royal Enfield has an enviable position because it has a very captive community, in the sense that you can reach a large number of individuals in a fairly easy way. So I guess the same thing with the ministry, because the ministry has the means and has the audiences to to that it can reach, through its normal activities, such as participating in fairs, all the marketing communication activity that it does. So I believe that one way forward is to bring partners together those who have the product, so those communities who have the intangible cultural heritage, Start India, which develops and promotes street art across India, and partner with organizations that have a large reach, a natural reach, and for which there is a natural combination, a natural synergy between the organizations to gain results fairly quickly and to the benefit of both organizations. And so I think one of the principles, one of the lessons that we can learn from this experience is that there are opportunities out there because there are commercial and non-commercial organizations which have this following, and bringing together those who have done the job on the ground together with those who can reach audiences will be very beneficial. I
Yeah,
would
and
like
Miguel,
to, yes.
sorry. I mean, I think market linkage programs, for what we are doing on ground becomes super critical, right? So it's great to set up 75 homestays in Ladakh, in some of the remote parts of that region. But if you don't have an active market linkage program that you create, and again, not everybody who's coming to Ladakh wants to go and stay at a homestay, right? So an intelligent market linkage program, which is well targeted to the kind of people who might be wanting to access something like that, I think is super important as well. So using digital as the tool to really create these experiences. Arjun talked about Instagram. That Instagram, I think, is the platform for promoting any kind of these destinations and tourism products as well, right? So maybe the presence on all of these new age mediums is also something that everyone needs to look at.
And it's also getting on board, for example, tour operators, special, not mass scale tour operators, but responsible tourism operators for things like Start India, having local communities promote on TripAdvisor and get
Hmm.
those experiences, high in the list of things to do while in the destination. I remember going to Vietnam, and the most rated experience was local food. So a tour, 3-4 hour tour where we went 7 different places, and it was the highlight of uh, uh, of uh, uh, of my stay in Hanoi, and I can see you know things similar things happening in northern Himalayas or in the Lodi Art District, or even at a more regional level. So it's thinking about also how the tourism industry is structured, and getting in touch with key players which can add value to the tremendous work that is already being done, because there's already a lot of work being done. So it's not about starting, it's about doing it even better. I think we are basically running out of time, and we still need to leave some time for Mr. Sumanji to finish the event.
Correct.
So
So yes, Dr. Manuel, Miguel. So what Vidisha told about the collaborating with the Ministry of Tourism to promote and highlight the things and works they have done and how the arts can be promoted. So Ministry of Tourism does lot of efforts to promote the culture and arts and everything. You know that there is a Bharat Parv happening every year, and this year also it is happening. During Corona, 2 years it doesn't happen. So Bharat Parv, what we are doing, we are basically promoting the culture and arts, and that is happening at India Gate. So that is one of the platform that any artist or any art form can join there. And of course, you told about the depository you have already created, so that you can share with us, and we can promote through Ministry of Tourism social media. So certainly this arts and culture, these are the theme of India that attracts the tourist, maybe the domestic tourist or the international tourist. And India is the cultural hub, you can say, and it has many forms of arts like Madhubani painting. that has become very prominent nowadays. I am seeing in many places at Delhi, like Arjun talked about the art street. The same way I could see at the flyovers and many other places big paintings coming of Madhubani painting. Same way we have Worli paintings, we have Kalighat paintings, Fart paintings, then miniature paintings, Gond painting, Kerala murals, and Patachitra painting. So these are all famous brand, you can say, in India, and that is famous worldwide. And certainly, like if you go to the Janpath market, you will find lot of arts and craft available there. There are artists and there are many things, but still we need to develop a lot in these sectors and need to promote a lot. There's no doubt about that. And certainly we are going to take it up further, and we will take your suggestions and further learn more about it. So to conclude, I must say Arjun spoke about the how we can promote and how we can take these street arts to the tourist. Same way Vidisha told about these expeditions of bikers and how they connect with the arts and how they connect with the performing arts and both. So certainly this intangible cultural heritage of India, this is our asset. And gradually now you see this Durga Puja have been uh, recognized as the uh, intangible cultural heritage of India. So same way many things are happening, and we were in Ladakh to have and one we had a conference in Ladakh new goal. There we could find lot of interest in this sector, and certainly the all the arts and artifacts combined together and make India certainly an incredible country. And Mr. Miguel, I think your experience and your suggestions are very viable, and of course we will look it into it, and of course we will learn more about it from you in future. So it was a wonderful session, and we had a very eminent panelist today, and hope everybody liked it and learned a lot from it. If there is no question, then we would like to conclude it. If anything to be added, Dr. Miguel?
Nope, just a big thank you, and it was a pleasure to share this platform with Bidisha, Arjun, and you, Mr. Sumanji. And yeah, I look forward to future discussions around the topic. I think this is the beginning, should be the beginning and not the end of it.
Yes, yes. Why not? Why not? So we will continue to take many other sessions on the similar topic, and we will like to have you in the other shows also. And of course, for other topic also, we may invite you. So thank you very much to all the panelists and all the participants who are watching it and viewing it, and the most our MOT team and the NEGD team, technical team. So big thank to all to make this program success. And again, we will meet in the next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Sumanji. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you,
Thank
Vidisha,
you.
Thanks.
and the
Bye.
events team. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a good day.
Bye bye.